welcome to Brookfield Zoo. Welcome to another edition of Bring the Zoo to You today. My name is Rita Stacy, and I'm the curator of marine mammals here at Brookfield Zoo. Today, my 7 Seas team and I are coming to you live from Pinniped Point. This is one of our marine habitats that houses our adult male gray seals, or adult gray seals. You may have seen on a previous Facebook Live the live that we did with our gray seal pups that were born back here in January. But we wanted to then bring you guys to see our adult grays, which are their mothers and their fathers. So the first one we have up here on deck is Tasha, and Tasha is Celia's mom, and she is working with Beth today. And you'll notice that she is being hand-fed her diet today, and she is eating some herring and capelin. Now the gray seals here have been here for quite some time, and that has allowed our animal care team to develop really trusting relationships with them. Now as you can see, Tasha is demonstrating layover behavior, and this is where we are able to do an ultrasound. For when Tasha was pregnant, we had our veterinarians come in, and where Beth is putting her hand is where we would put the ultrasound probe to take a look at a growing fetus inside mom. Notice how well Tasha is doing. She's lying there very quietly and relaxed, and that is a big part of how we work with the gray seals and all of our marine mammals here, is really looking for that nice, calm, and relaxed behavior, especially when we're doing husbandry or care behaviors. Now you may have heard Beth said the word good, and that indicated to Tasha that she had done a great job and that she was going to get a reward for doing so. This here is Flipper Present, and this allows us to take a good close look at their nails and their flippers. And you'll notice they do have quite some long nails on their front flippers, and they actually use these nails to tear their fish, especially if they have a large fish. They can actually tear it or rip it in half. And Tasha's doing that, displaying a little bit of what that ripping behavior might look like. That was a great job for Tasha. A little bit farther down on the deck here, we have Chris is working with Lily, and Lily is Peanut's mom. And I should mention both Tasha and Lily are both 16 years old. And Lily here, she is a great mom, and she is working closely with Beth. And Chris is giving you guys a good look inside Lily's mouth. Marshall can try to get a little closer so he can show you guys all the teeth that they have in their mouth. These guys do have lots of teeth, but they don't really chew their food. Their teeth are just used to grasp onto their live prey, and sometimes also rip that fish in half, like we've already kind of talked about. We talked about that with Tasha. And Lily right now is on what we call a hand target, and this is a behavior that we do when we want to take a good look at the eyes and the nose, and we'll actually do a behavior where we can have our veterinarians come in and get a good look inside or look at their eyes. We can even take eye pressures with them. What a great close-up view of, notice how great Lily is with that behavior. Nice and calm and relaxed as Mark brought the camera really close to her face. And notice the nice big reward that Lily is getting. And these behaviors are possible because of the relationship that we establish with the animals here, and we work very closely with them several times a day. And each of the animal care staff have to get to know the animals on an individual basis, and they get to know their likes and their dislikes and their personalities so that they can tailor the reinforcements for all the behaviors that we ask of them to that particular animal. Thank you, Chris, very much, and thanks to Lily for participating. And last but not least is Kiinaq. And Kiinaq is the dad of both Peanut and Celia. And you'll notice how much larger Kiinaq is. And Kiinaq is a male, and he's, oh, here's that ripping behavior. Take a look at that. Watch how Kiinaq is using those claws. Oh, he didn't quite rip it in half, but he gave it a good shot there. They use those front claws to tear that food apart, and Kiinaq was giving you a pretty good look at how they do that. Kiinaq here is 19 years old, and Andy is working with him today, and they're doing, again, another front flipper present to take a good look at the front flippers and those nails that they have on each side. Kiinaq has a really interesting story here, and we'd like to share a little bit of that today. Kiinaq was actually born out in the wild, and he actually came into a stranding center when he was only a few months old, and he had a broken jaw, and the broken jaw led to an infection, which unfortunately led to him losing almost all the teeth on his lower jaw. So you're getting a really good look inside of Kiinaq's mouth, and you notice he only really has about 3 teeth left on the bottom jaw. He has a good amount on the top jaw, but because he lost so many teeth on the lower jaw, he was deemed non-releasable by their federal government and was not able to be released back out to the wild. Therefore, National Marine Fisheries Service asked zoos and aquariums if they could provide Kiinaq with a home, and the Detroit Zoo gave him that first home coming in from the wild, and he actually was there until May of 2018. And it was in 2018 when our species survival plan recommendations recommended that he be transported to Brookfield Zoo specifically to breed with both Tasha and Lily. And as you know from our previous Facebook Live, that was very successful, and we had the birth of both Celia and Peanut. And so we're very happy that now Kiinaq is well represented within the North American population of gray seals. And I am also the stud bookkeeper and SSP coordinator for the species. And so it was a great accomplishment for our team to be able to have Kiinaq represented and have the birth of those pups this past winter. And take a look at how wonderful Kiinaq is doing here for his ultrasound layover. And so he is very calm and relaxed in this position, doing a fabulous job with Andy. And Andy's putting his hand where the ultrasound probe would go if our veterinarians were over, standing in his place and actually doing an ultrasound exam. And it's not only important just for the females and monitoring pregnancy, but we can also take a very good look inside the animals' bodies and look at all of their internal organs. There we go. Let's see if Kiinaq can get that. Oh, not quite ripped in half, but almost there. Kiinaq has done a fabulous job doing some of those husbandry behaviors. Andy, would we be able to see the blood setup? Sure. So Kiinaq and the rest of our gray seals here do give voluntary blood samples. And we do this on a regular basis for preventative health. And so Andy's going to now show you how we would take blood from Kiinaq. And notice Kiinaq is lying quietly on the deck. And Andy was able to spread his rear flipper, and we actually go in between the digits and can actually take a blood sample. Now, just like all of us, when we have a blood sample taken, of course, we have to have a needle inserted, whether into our arm or in this case, into Kiinaq's flipper. And of course, he can feel it just like we would feel that needle pinch. But we do this and we practice this all the time so that when we do these practice setups, Kiinaq knows when Andy says the word G-O-O-D, there it was, that he actually did a great job and got another nice big whole herring reward there. And so when we do actually take a blood sample, they get quite a number of fishes as a reward, and they learn over time that even though they might have to withstand just a little bit of pain when it comes to a needle poke, that the result and the reward is very well worth it. And you can see Andy's relationship here with Kiinaq in full display as he gives him a really nice rub down, and that is also a reward for Kiinaq. He enjoys having his neck scratched. And I should mention, like we said earlier, that Kiinaq is much larger than the female gray seals, and Kiinaq weighs a little over 500 pounds, where the girls are only about half his size, and they weigh between 225 and 250 pounds each. And in terms of Kiinaq, again, we're just happy he's here and happy that he was able to have his genes represented in our gray seal population in North America. Again, we only have 10 facilities in North America that you guys can see these guys. And it looks like Andy's going to go ahead and show you how we try to maintain teeth health for our gray seals by brushing their teeth. So again, there's only a couple on Kiinaq's lower jaw, but we can go ahead in with a toothbrush and brush all of the teeth on the top jaw. And Kiinaq's doing a really great job. And you have to have a really good relationship with the animals to be able to brush their teeth like that. And good oral hygiene is good for all of us, as well as all of the animals. And again, a nice big scratch and reward on his neck right there for a job well done. Again, Kiinaq is important to our population, and in terms of having him represented in our population and having sired both Celia and Kiinaq. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our session here. And Kiinaq is doing one more quick little thing here and just doing a nice body exam with Andy today. And this is a way we can take a good look at his whole body and see if there's any marks that need to be addressed and cuts that he might have. And notice how calm and relaxed Kiinaq is. Even with me standing here next to him, he's doing a fabulous job.
Good.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end our session here with the gray seals, but the session isn't over yet. In terms of, we are going to do some enrichment with the animals, and I thought this might be a good time to tackle some of the questions that you guys have been submitting. And so I think one of the questions was, do they have names? And yes, they do have names, and we do call them by name. So Kiinaq, Tasha, and Lily. So their session has just ended, and we're going to go ahead and bring out some enrichment, some of their favorite enrichment that our gray seals enjoy. And Kiinaq is eyeing up what's coming out for him. And here comes Andy again with some, so these are what we call feeder logs, and there's some interesting stuff hidden on the inside that our gray seals are going to have to try to navigate and pull out some hidden gems inside of the logs there. And then you'll notice that Andy's also preparing the logs with some ice cubes as well. Our animals do like ice cubes, and as you can see, they're ready for the enrichment to be had here. So yeah, they're going after that log. That looks great. So are seals and sea lions different? And yes, we do have, so we have gray seals and California sea lions here at Pinniped Point, and they do look very different. And so while the girls and Kiinaq are enjoying some enrichment here, I'll go ahead and try to keep answering some of these questions in terms of what are the differences between seals and sea lions. So next time you get to come to the zoo, you'll notice that the animals move very differently on land. And Kiinaq has hopped up here, and he actually undulates along on his belly. He uses his front flippers to help pull him along a little bit. And that's very unlike California sea lions that can actually walk on all four flippers. They can actually rotate those hind flippers underneath their bodies and actually elevate their bellies off the ground and actually walk on all four. And they have very large front flippers. That's the California sea lions. If Mark can just show you real quick at Kiinaq's ears, gray seals and harbor seals, they don't have ear flaps. And as you can see, he doesn't have an ear flap, he just has a small hole, and that's where his ear is. And that is unlike sea lions, who actually have external ear flaps. And what do they eat is another question we got. And as you can see, we have Lily up on deck here, and she is chowing away at some ice cubes. And so, she found some fishes in there as well. So here at Brookfield Zoo, we feed them capelin and herring, and sometimes some cod and some squid, and then they also get jello sometimes, and they get ice cubes also, and that's what currently makes up their nutrition plan. And that's very important for taking good care of the animals, as they get restaurant quality of human consumption fish prepared for them every day. And we actually have nutrition plans for each of the animals, and that's based on each of the animals' sex and their weight and their age. And we actually have the animals weigh every week, and we have goal weight ranges, especially for our adults here. And we're looking for them to stay in their goal weight range. And we do that, weigh them every week, and then we make adjustments to the nutrition plan if need be. The next question is, what does their skin feel like? Actually, it does look like they just have skin, but actually they have coarse fur, and of course it's wet, and it's all kind of laid back on their skin. But they feel they're actually, pretty chilly because they're in the water. But when they haul out, like Kiinaq is here on deck, this is perfect weather for our pinnipeds to haul out and bask in the sun. And they'll definitely get warm. And when they do get warm and dry, they actually get fuzzy, and then you can really appreciate the hair that they have. Our gray seals are currently molting. They do molt every year and come in with a new coat of hair. And Mark's trying to give you a nice up-close look at Kiinaq there, taking a break on the deck. And at that point, I think we're going to wrap up our live today. We want to thank everybody for tuning in every day. And we were happy to be able to bring you our adult gray seals from Pinniped Point. And we just want to say thanks so much. We hope we will see you guys all again soon. And have a great day. Thank you.